Welcome to Compact for America Initiative University. Today we're going to talk about the Balanced Budget Amendment that is at the heart of the Compact for America Initiative. And we're going to start with Section 1. Section 1 of the Compact for America Initiative Balanced Budget Amendment defines when the budget is in balance. And it does it in a very commonsensical way. It says that the budget is in balance when total outlays, meaning total expenditures, broadly defined, equals total receipts or total tax revenues and other revenues of the federal government. And if there is not a balance between total outlays and total receipts, then the only way that gap can be bridged is through plain vanilla, transparent federal debt. Section 2 of the Compact for America Initiative Balanced Budget Amendment sets a hard constitutional debt limit. Now this is different than what we see happen in Congress every year, where debt limits come and go. This debt limit would be set at no more than 105% of the outstanding federal debt when the amendment is ratified. And if any increase is required beyond that, well then we got to turn to Section 3. Section 3 strikes at the root of the problem of unsustainable federal debt. It does this by recognizing that Congress cannot be trusted with the unilateral, unlimited power to incur new debt. And it says that if there's going to be any new federal debt, it's going to have a cosigner. Section 3 requires a majority of state legislatures to approve any increase in the federal debt. It targets this new power to check and balance federal debt spending only to the power of incurring new federal debt. It makes sure that states will not abuse this power by saying that the states cannot demand any new taxes or any new spending in exchange for their approval. Not only that, but it says that if the states do not approve an increase in the federal debt above the limit set by Section 2 within 60 days, then the increase will be deemed disapproved. This ensures that the debt limit set by Section 2 will hold firm unless a wide consensus across the nation stands in favor of an increase in the federal debt. Section 4 makes sure that responsibility for enforcing the debt limit stops with the President. If the President doesn't make sure that spending remains under control and within the debt limit, he could be impeached. When spending reaches 98% of the debt limit, he has to start cutting back. Now, when the President identifies what spending he wants to impound, that doesn't end the story. Congress will have 30 days to override what the President designates, and that ensures that there will be a check and a balance on the President's power to impound expenditures. But the important thing is that the executive branch, and the President in particular, will be held accountable for ensuring the debt limit in Section 2 is respected and enforced. Section 5 is the fair share tax provision. It recognizes that the debt spending problem is primarily a spending problem, not a tax revenue problem. At the same time, it recognizes that our tax system is completely unfair and completely unjustified the way it currently operates. Too many people and too many special interests enjoy loopholes from our income taxes. And the fact is, the income tax is overly burdensome and invades our privacy. It's not a good tax. So Section 5 gives policymakers a choice. If they want to increase any income tax, they have to have 2/3 of each House of Congress approve that increase. But if they want to replace the income tax with a fair end-user sales tax that taxes all purchases equally, that no one can escape who purchases anything, then it can do so with simple majorities. Likewise, if the policymaker wants to retain our income tax system, it gives them the option of just closing loopholes, ending deductions and exemptions and credits as a means of raising revenue rather than raising rates. Either way, you result in a fairer, flatter tax that provides for fewer special interest exemptions and a broader base so that everyone will have skin in the game. Section 6 of the amendment contains definitions of all of the key terms used in the Balanced Budget Amendment. We defined these terms very carefully, having analyzed all of the balanced budget amendments that exist among the 49 states. and define terms in such a way as to prevent people from evading the balanced budget requirements and the debt limit requirements we've established. For example, one of the concerns we had in devising the balanced budget amendment was that Congress might just print money and use that newly printed money to balance the budget, even if it damaged the economy and caused massive inflation. Well, to prevent that possibility, we defined total receipts to exclude proceeds from the creation of new debt or liabilities, which is what money is. All the other definitions reflect a similar concern for closing any gaps that may exist in the language used throughout the amendment to ensure that it remains enforceable and strong. Finally, Section 7 of the Balanced Budget Amendment makes sure that the Balanced Budget Amendment will actually be enforced. It says that it's self-enforcing, which is critical, because the last thing we want is to have to wait on Congress to pass a new law to enforce the very amendment meant to control Congress. At the same time, we recognize that Congress, in the right hands, from time to time, may have a role in facilitating the enforcement of the amendment. And so there is also power given to Congress to enact laws that facilitate the enforcement of the Balanced Budget Amendment. Congratulations, you've just finished your first course towards your Compact for America Initiative BBA. Now there's 3 more courses left, so you're not quite done yet. But you've just finished the most important course. You've learned all about the Compact for America's uniquely powerful Balanced Budget Amendment. You've learned how it strikes at the root of the problem of unsustainable federal debt spending by dividing power, by checking and balancing Washington, by requiring the states to co-sign on any increase in the federal debt. Now, it doesn't stop there. It also ensures accountability. In addition to requiring a majority of state legislatures to approve any increase in a hard federal debt limit set by the Constitution, the Balanced Budget Amendment also holds the President accountable for enforcing the debt limit. The President could be impeached if he doesn't make sure that expenditures stay within the debt limit. He must impound expenditures whenever it looks like they might exceed the debt limit when those expenditures reach 98% of the debt limit. Now, just in case the President would abuse his power, Congress has the ability to override the President's impoundments and replace them with their own. And in this way, the buck stops somewhere, ideally within the executive branch, which is responsible for cutting the checks. In addition, the Balanced Budget Amendment recognizes that the problem of unsustainable federal debt spending is a spending problem, and that our tax code is broken. But rather than require general tax revenue increases, general tax increases to balance the budget, what the Balanced Budget Amendment says is that if you want to increase income taxes overall, you have to have 2/3 of each House of Congress approve. But you can have loopholes closed and special interest deductions and credits closed with just simple majorities of each House of Congress. And you could even junk the entire income tax code and replace it with a national sales tax with simple majorities of both Houses of Congress. That means that you could have a fairer, flatter tax which results in everyone having skin in the game and with no one being able to evade their fair share. Certainly not the special interests. Now, that's just the beginning of your BBA education. There are at least 3 other courses ready for you. And if you need to learn more about what we've just reviewed, feel free to go back and click on the earlier provisions. Each section can be watched as many times as you need to fully understand how the Balanced Budget Amendment works. But next, we're going into the most fun and interesting part of the Compact for America initiative, and that is learning about the compact vehicle, the agreement among the states that makes originating the Balanced Budget Amendment convenient, efficient, and powerful. It's what will make it possible for the states to originate a Balanced Budget Amendment for the first time ever.